Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock Veterans Orthopedic Clinic. Need an orthopedist? Go to Brock, of course. If you need a roof, give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. Remember, name of the new roofing company will be announced any day now. Hope you all had a great weekend. Lots to recap, of course. So much to do, so little time. Of course, the NFL draft in the rearview mirror, and with the draft in the rearview mirror, excuse me, s- um, Saturday evening and then into Sunday, of course, were big for UDFAs, undrafted free agents, both LSU and Saints players signing those UDFA deals. But we'll begin with LSU baseball. Tigers lose game 3 to Auburn. Let me tell you the good news. The good news right now is if the SEC tournament started today, LSU would be in. LSU is at 7-14. They have a tiebreaker over Ole Miss. They are ahead of Missouri and Auburn in the standings. So LSU, if the SEC tournament started today, would be in the postseason. So again, you still have 3 more weekends. You have 9 more conference games. So there's a lot of movement that's still going to happen over 9 games. But remember, like the first goal is you got to get into the SEC tournament, right? Um, Avoid the bottom 2 in the conference. And remember, that's by record. That's not like the bottom in the East, bottom in the West. That's by SEC record overall. So LSU and Ole Miss are each 7-14, but LSU is the tiebreaker over Ole Miss. Missouri 6-15, and Auburn is 3-18. Uh, so as of now, LSU is in a good spot. Now, what really sucks is you get A&M this weekend. Um, and A&M, look, took 2 out of 3 against Georgia this past weekend. So I think the way you look at it is, you got to get one. Let's talk about Auburn real quick, and then we'll look ahead. Um, so the game itself was so disappointing the way it started. Tigers gave up a 5 spot in the first inning. Cade Anderson started for LSU. If you didn't watch or see it, Cade Anderson got the start. He gave up a double to Stanfield to open the game, and then got 2 quick outs. He got a pop out strikeout, and then the carousel started. And they didn't really hit the ball hard against him, but they beat LSU's defensive lineman a couple of times, and um, ultimately brought in Helmers, uh, who promptly threw a wild pitch and gave up a double. But anyway, so a 5 spot in the first, and LSU just wasn't able to overcome it. I mean, they scored 5, but uh, look, they lost 7-5, and they had other opportunities, man. The bottom of the 7th is probably the one that's gonna make you feel the most, disappointed because you had the bases loaded with nobody out, and you got 1 run home in that scenario. Um, Larson flew out. Larson flew out, it was a sac fly. Tommy White flew out, but Milam wasn't able to advance Milazzo wasn't able to advance on the first sac fly, so he advanced to third. So you got to run on third with 2 outs and Jones at the plate, and Jones struck out on 3 pitches. So you had your opportunities in that game, man. You had your opportunities to break through, but ultimately, just a really disappointing top of the first inning um, is what got you. So in any event, you missed a good opportunity. So the now, sort of as you look ahead, as we kind of play the math game, remember we're trying to get to 13 in the league. So with 9 games to play, you have to win 6 of your final 9, which means you go 2-1 each of the final 3 weekends, and you're there. The challenge is you've got Texas A&M coming in this weekend, and winning a series against Texas A&M is a pretty monumental task for this LSU team. Now, if you get awesome outings from Gage Jump and Luke Coleman, you got a shot to do it behind those 2. Yeah, but thinking you're gonna win a game 3 against A&M with the way LSU's been throwing on Sunday, just not realistic. Um, which means then you'd have to sweep either Alabama on the road or Ole Miss at home. And clearly the Ole Miss series would be the best opportunity to do that, although it's really hard to imagine this LSU team sweeping anybody. But if they absolutely had to get it done and there's all that pressure and onus, maybe they can. But you put yourself in a spot where you feel like you kind of need to go win this weekend against A&M, but you definitely have to get one because if you get swept this weekend against A&M, I don't know how you overcome that. Because if you come out of this weekend 7-17, um, that would essentially mean you'd have to sweep the next 2 weekends against Bama and Ole Miss. So, um, you gotta go get at least one this weekend to feel like you're giving yourself a chance. Um, okay, let's say some good mornings, and, see how y'all are doing. Hope you had a great weekend. Fire away. You know the drill. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We appreciate y'all. Matt, good morning. I get Drew ready to sing happy birthday next Wednesday for my 50th. If he's awake, but if he's not awake, you'll have to do, Matt. You have to remind me on a day when he is awake to do it. But we'll do it. I promise. We'll get it done. Wendell Norman, Brian Wynn, good morning. Pat, good morning. Any day now, day 24. It's definitely not day 24. There's no way that it's day 24. Just because I know the path and trajectory. Jesse, good morning. How many of the Saints draft picks do you think make the 53-man roster? All of them. Um, well, we can start with the obvious ones, right? So Taliesin Fuanga, your first round pick, is obviously going to make the team. Cooley McKinstry is going to make the team. That's the really challenging part because when you go beyond that, the next highest draft pick you had was Spencer Rattler, right? Um, and here's the challenging part with Rattler. You're probably not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on your 53-man roster. So do you run the risk of trying to bury him on the practice squad? That's a real challenge. I mean, he's going to have to show you something in training camp to warrant a roster spot. But you also don't want to have used a 5th round pick on him, think he's got great upside, and then, waive him and sign him to the practice squad, but have someone else pick him up. But that means someone else would have to put him on their 53. But that's what happened with Ian Book. You drafted Ian Book in the fourth. That was you drafted Ian Book in the 4th round. You tried to stash him on the practice squad in his 2nd year, and the Eagles signed him. So, there's always a risk. I think Bub Means will make the team. The 5th round pick wide receiver. You need a receiver. You invested a draft pick here. I think Jalen Ford has his work cut out for him. The linebacker from Texas. He's got to show some consistency in camp. I mean, the Saints have used, when you just look at Jackson a few years ago, I think he was a 5th round pick linebacker. So look, if you are a draft pick, the tie, so to speak, will go to the draft pick. But if there's a player trying to make the roster, who's just better than the draft pick, the Saints have shown that I remember the most famous or infamous one was Antonio Pittman. The Saints used a 4th round pick on Antonio Pittman, who's running back out of Ohio State, and Pierre Thomas flat beat him out in training camp. And they kept Pierre Thomas, and it was 100% the right decision, right? So Jalen Ford, Christian Boyd, I think, makes the team, the defensive lineman out of northern Iowa. Unless if they go in veteran free agency and find, a veteran free agent after a round of cuts, that makes sense. But Boyd is kind of what you're looking for. Big body, rotational run stuffer, kind of to fill the void that Malcolm Roach left. So I think he makes the team. I think Josiah Ezerim, the 7th round pick, the tackle, that's a long shot. That's probably a practice squad player. You cut him and set him on the practice squad, see if you can develop him. So, but if you're talking about the 53, I think obviously Fuanga, excuse me, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Bub Means. I think those 3 for sure. Spencer Rattler is gonna be one certainly worth watching just because of the nature of the position he plays, and then Boyd. So I think 4 for sure. Fuanga, McKinstry, Means, Boyd. I think those 4 make the team. The other 3 probably, hopefully, practice squad targets. Tim Gotro, good morning. Charles Bouquet, good morning. Kelly Gross, Shelly Prescott, what's going on? Dustin Balello, Tiger Diver, good morning. Hey, Jerry, good morning. Eric, morning, Matt. You oftentimes say there is sound logic reason behind a baseball decision. You can live with it. I can live with the results. What logic, analytics reason would you say starting Anderson made sense? Um, I'm not sure that there is. I fundamentally disagree with that decision. Um, Now, I know what they were thinking, which was exactly what Ackenhausen had done the past 2 weeks, which is I don't need you to get me far, but can you get me through the lineup once? Can you give me 6 outs so then we can give the ball to Griffin Herring? And then I mean, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to replicate the Ackenhausen model, like give the ball to the lefty who's going to be a strike thrower and see if he can get you through the lineup once, and then you give it to Herring to get you deep in the game. Like that's what he was trying to do. I mean, I haven't heard Jay's comments on, but that's absolutely what he was trying to do. The problem, and I don't mind that in theory. The problem that I have is we've seen Kate Anderson pitch in SEC play, and it's not gone well. So, remember early in the pre-conference, Anderson was very good. And we had the conversation, okay, with your pitching staff struggling, is Kate Anderson more valuable to you as a midweek starter or as a reliever in conference play? Well, clearly Jay needed arms on the SEC weekend, so he moved Anderson into the bullpen, and it didn't go well for him in conference play. So they moved him back to the midweek role, and he was doing well again. So the thought is, hey, let's give him another shot to get back on the horse, see if he can go get us 6 or 9 outs here. And it didn't work. Got you 2/3 of an inning. He gave up the leadoff double and almost got out of it. Going pop out strikeout and almost got out of it. Had a little bad baseball fortune, a couple of bleeders that got through, but you know, you had to go to Herring earlier than you would have liked. Um, so I mean, so look, and again, I don't ever want to be the guy that's just criticizing without a solution, right? So in that situation, I think your options would have been either start Griffin Herring or start Sam Dutton. And I probably would have started Sam Dutton. He's a strike thrower. He's a veteran. He's pitched well in SEC play that this year, and he's again a veteran. That would have been my choice if with Ackenhausen not available. Let Dutton go into that role, and Dutton's a righty, so then you could have gone righty lefty from Dutton to Herring. That's probably what I would have preferred. And I know that sounds like a comment with the benefit of hindsight, and it is, but we've talked about it here. Like I think Anderson probably isn't ready to get SEC hitters out consistently, and that's his problem. I think he's going to be great. He's a really talented young guy. I think he's going to have a great career here. He's just not ready to get out SEC hitters consistently. The other option I would have told you would have been Thatcher Hurd. Hurd did finish the game on Saturday, but he threw 3 pitches. So I don't think there would have been any problem bringing him back on Sunday. James McKinney, Timothy Fontenot, good rainy morning. It's not raining here. It's not yet anyway. I need the weather to hold a bit. I'm wheels up to New York City today, so I need the weather to hold so I can get out of here. Eric Bertrand, good morning. Good thing you didn't bet on the Saints not trading up in the 3rd round. Oh, look, I'm not on air today or tomorrow, but when we get back Wednesday, I'm 100% going to wear it. Look, so I was kind of 50% right. So if you remember, or 50% wrong. I said, the way I said is I haven't spoken in absolutes since 2007 when I said there was 0% chance LSU loses to Kentucky. And of course, they lost the game in triple overtime. And so I said, I learned a lesson as a young broadcaster. You don't speak in absolutes because of things like that. And I said last week, there was a 0% chance the Saints sit there and, from pick 45 until round 5 and don't make a pick, they're going to move up. So I said they're not going to make 4 fifth-round picks. Well, they didn't make 4 fifth-round picks. They did trade a 5th and a 6th to move up to get Kool-Aid McKinstry. So they did make that move, but from McKinstry to round 5 when they took Rattler, they sat pat. So I was right in the sense that they didn't make 4 fifth-round picks and 2 sixth-round picks. I was wrong in the sense that I figured it would come after pick 45 that they would have moved up, but they moved up prior to pick 45, and they waited a long time. So, yeah, I'll own it. I'll own it. I'll wear it. Hmm. If you need a realtor, call Darren James. He's the best. Pat Huseman, pretty impressive with the draft. Hopefully the linebackers can be developed. Jesse, with the whole Falcons debate with them signing Penix, if Penix decides not to sign, how long does Atlanta have his rights? Could he force a trade? No, could not force a trade. He could ask for one, but I think the more likely scenario, honestly, would be Kirk Cousins. Because here's what Kirk Cousins could do, and I can't take ownership of this. I heard Mike Tannenbaum talk about on the ESPN radio coverage. He said, and this was his suggestion. He said, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I tell them I'll see you Tuesday of the first game week, but I'm not coming to anything else. And he's not going to miss a game week because they don't want to miss a game check, but essentially force their hand to trade him potentially to Las Vegas. And the reason being, he agreed to A when he signed with Atlanta, right? He like I don't know how much money Minnesota was offering him, but Kirk Cousins' wife is from Atlanta. So they were thinking, hey, this will be the last stop of the career, go by wife's family, an organization that has tons of offensive talent with Drake London and Bijan Robinson, and they're and thinking, or you got the 8th pick, go invest in that defense to get him better. Let's go compete to win a bad division. Like that's what Kirk Cousins signed up for. So he signs up for A, and then they completely, bait and switch him. So, could Kirk Cousins say, "I'm not playing here"? Like, trade me. And then would a team like the Raiders, who didn't get their quarterback, be open to a move like that? Maybe. I think that would be interesting. But if you're Atlanta, you're not trading Michael Penix. Taylor Hudson, Dalton Barnett, Jay Borden, Armani Hayes. Do you feel like we should have waited to try to get a player like Montgomery over Bingham? So it wasn't wait for that. Montgomery, the number I was told is he got $750 from A&M, $750K. He's talking about Braden Montgomery. So, dude got $750,000, went to A&M. Matthew Denicola, how do we have a tiebreaker versus Ole Miss without playing them? Division record. Taz, Shannon Sharp reported on his podcast Spencer fell in the draft because of a reality show he did in high school. So Shannon Sharp didn't report that. That was reported over the weekend by many, many outlets. That I don't know that I honestly believe that. Now, I'm not saying and it's one of the problems that I have with anonymous reports, anonymous sources. That's one of the things I have a problem with because, while I don't doubt there were credible outlets that put that out there, where are you getting that from? Are you getting that from a general? If that's truly the reason that you passed on somebody, then put your name on it. If you're a general manager and you took Rattler off your board or you dropped him, say we watched, we did our due diligence, we saw this thing when he was in high school, and it made us really concerned about. But the flip side of that is when you look at every piece of media Spencer Rattler's done in the last 2 years, he's even acknowledged that, even throughout the pre-draft process, about how immature he was then and how much being humbled at Oklahoma, going to South Carolina made him mature and how much he's grown as a person. And I respect that. So I don't care what you did when you're 17, 18 years old. You're an idiot at 7. We're all idiots at 17 and 18. Some of us are bigger idiots than others, but we're all idiots. You don't know what you don't know. Live long enough. Life will kick you in the behind and force you to grow up. Earl, good morning. What would you grade the Saints draft? I don't know, man. I mean, look, you got 2 offensive linemen. You needed offensive line. You got a receiver. You needed a receiver. You got an interior defensive lineman. You got all the positions that we thought they needed to get. So in that respect, you definitely drafted for need. I think your first 2 picks are going to be really good players for you. Fuanga, I think, is a day 1 starter at one of your tackle positions. Kool-Aid gives you so many options with what to do with Lattimore and Adebo moving forward. I really like the value of the Spencer Rattler pick. he may not make the team. We talked about it yesterday. I went back 20 years of 5th round picks for the Saints, and they've hit on about 30% of those. So it's a 70% chance it doesn't work. But what if you do get Dak Prescott? Like, what if you do get your franchise quarterback in day 3? Awesome. A couple more here. Kenneth Polk, good morning. Glad to catch the show live again. Happy with the Saints draft overall. Sadly, I think the Pels will roll over and lose. Hope Jay can steady the ship as the team grows. Yeah, I'm not interested in. I'll be in New York tonight. Not going to watch a lick of the Pels seasonal end tonight, and I'm just not interested. They quit, so I quit on them. Hunter Broadhead, good morning. Beyond the Crown, good morning. Cajun Country Matt, strange day on Saturday. I filled in for the Philadelphia Soul on Saturday night. Strange sequence of events, to be sure. You filled in? What do you mean for the Philadelphia? What do you mean Sean, what do you mean you filled in for the Philadelphia Soul? uh Bearded, that's the Arena League team. Uh Bearded Dragon, so many freshmen and sophomores starting that makes this feel like a rebuild season after losing all the offense and fielding from last season. You know, but that wasn't the way it was supposed to go. Like Stephen Milam wasn't supposed to be a starter. Ashton Larson, we didn't anticipate being a starter. Um, if there was a freshman we thought had an opportunity to get in the everyday lineup, it would have been Jake Brown. But yeah, and by the way, I want to remind you, Jared Jones is a draft eligible sophomore. He ain't coming back next year. With that power tool, like he's not coming back. Paxton Kling is a draft eligible sophomore, and you can laugh, but right now he's a 4 tool guy. He needs to learn how to hit for average, but the glove, the physical ability, someone's going to draft him high, or at least make an offer to him. Griffin Herring is a draft eligible sophomore. Like you're going to lose a lot off of this team. So, you're going to count on a lot of those young guys that are getting experience. Milam, Larson, Brown. We'll see what happens with Ethan Fry. I know the plan is Jared Jones going pro. Fry next year is your starting first base. He's Jared Jones next year. Stick him on first base, let him mash homers. But you're going to have a lot of those same questions next year. Armani, a lot of people spoken highly of Moffitt and Dutton. When do you think they'll get their chance to start with consistency of strikes of late with Dutton and pitches in the mid-90s, Moffitt? I don't know that either of them are going to be starters, Armani. It's a good question. And I don't think, Moffitt in his time at LSU factors in as a starter. I think next year Moffitt is your closer, especially with the uptick in velo. I think that's what they groom him for next year, is to be your back end of the bullpen guy. I would have had no problem starting Dutton yesterday with the same idea that you did with Ackenhouse in the past couple of weeks. Man, just get me through the lineup once so I can give the ball to Herring. Let's see, a couple more here. Bubba Smith, good morning. Robert, Matt, good luck in New York. Thanks. No luck needed. Robert, just a quick trip up there. I think I mentioned to y'all, I got a pretty cool thing I get to do today. It's a dinner, champagne and caviar thing with Gary Vaynerchuk, with Gary V. So I got lucky, won this thing. So I was like, okay, I'll fly up there for a day. So I'm flying up today. I'll land in New York at 4. The thing's at 7. I'm gonna stay the night and then fly home tomorrow. It's just a quick turnaround trip. Earl, let's see, Matt, would the SC tournament wins count toward getting into regionals? Yes. The committee would absolutely, because it's also going to help your RPI. Like the committee will absolutely consider total number of wins with respect to that. Like it'll be more SEC wins. Yes. Real quick. I'm going to look at the updated RPI real quick. Remember, I think LSU last week was 36. They are 40. Yeah, they were 36 last week. They're 42. So obviously playing Auburn dinged you a bit. But again, this week, win or lose, you're playing A&M, which is the number 1 RPI team in the country. Then you play Bama, which is 14. Then you play Ole Miss, which is Ole Miss. Where are you? They can't be. Ole Miss is 27. So your 3 remaining series are against the number 1, number 14, and number 27 RPI team. So your RPI is gonna be fine. Um, you just, if you get to 13, you feel good going to Hoover. If you're at 12, you need to go make 11, you need to go make a little noise in Hoover. So we'll see. Let's see. Uh, Dale Broussard, good question. Is Fidel Ulloa injured? Haven't seen him in a while. It's good. I don't think he's injured, and it's so odd too because he was one of the guys they um, counted on early. Um, he just, as they moved into conference play, hasn't been a guy that they've gone to, oddly enough. Anyway, all right, y'all. My apologies if I missed you. I got to get going. Jeff, what's up, my dude? Jason Horn, good morning. Kyrie, what's up, man? Disappointed the Saints pass on Brendan Rice, but means optimistic about Ford, versatile backer, which we need desperately. Well, talked about him yesterday. The scouting report that I've heard is consistently inconsistent, and he develops some consistency. I think he could be a really good player, but probably a year 1 stash guy. But we'll see. All right, I got to go. Y'all have an awesome day. Peace.